Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers traffic stops, reasonable suspicion, and the First Amendment, and is brought to us by Lackluster's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On February 13th, 2022, former New Yorker Matthew Cardew was attempting to return to his Pasco County, Florida home when he encountered a construction crew blocking the entrance to his neighborhood. He followed the detour around to the other side of his neighborhood, but found that the only other point of entry was partially blocked by a cruiser from the Pasco County Sheriff's Office, driven by Deputy Kevin LaPointe. According to Mr. Cardew, he stopped at the intersection and used his turn signal to communicate his intention to turn into the neighborhood, but Deputy LaPointe did not respond. Mr. Cardew then stopped next to the police vehicle, with no reaction from Deputy LaPointe, before continuing to drive past the cruiser. Deputy LaPointe then flashed his siren, and Mr. Cardew stopped and rolled down his window while Deputy LaPointe approached.
You decided to go right through the whole roadblock.
So people that can't live here, can go up there?
Don't you think you should probably stop and explain, hey, listen, I got to go to a certain area because it's blocked off at a certain point and you'd be a dead end anyway.
Stopped, aren't I?
Yeah, but you went right past the whole thing.
All right, what are we doing here?
Where's your house?
Right up there on Kitten Trail.
Okay, where?
See the curve?
Yes.
Just past the curve on the left.
Is it north of Little Beat Court?
Yes.
Okay.
I just drove all the way around to get here.
Okay, well, I don't know that.
Well, I'm explaining it to you now.
I know, but
Can I go or not?
Yeah, get the hell out.
Thank you.
See you later. Get back in your car. Get back in your car right now. I'm telling you right now, get back in your car.
Oh, you gonna shoot me?
You come out of your car in a traffic stop, obviously it's a dangerous situation. Get back in your car.
Settle down. If you can't handle the
Get
job,
back
go
in your
work at
goddamn car.
McDonald's.
After Deputy LaPointe initiates a second traffic stop, Mr. Cardew pulls over and steps out of his vehicle. Deputy LaPointe then exits his cruiser and orders Mr. Cardew to get back inside his car. As we have mentioned in many other episodes of ATA, the Supreme Court has unequivocally established that police officers can order individuals to step out of a vehicle during a traffic stop to preserve officer safety. This authority extends beyond orders to exit a vehicle, and, in general, individuals must comply with instructions from officers attempting to maintain control of the traffic stop. While exiting your vehicle after being pulled over is not illegal, officers typically view such actions as aggressive, suspicious, and a threat to their safety. Additionally, when a citizen steps out onto the road during a traffic stop, oncoming traffic can pose a threat to their own safety as well. For these reasons, while Mr. Cardew did not break the law by getting out of his car, a court would almost certainly determine that Deputy LaPointe was within his authority to order him to get back into the vehicle.
Could you send me one more, please? I'm 10-4. License, registration, insurance.
What'd you stop me for?
License, registration,
What'd you stop me
and
for?
insurance.
What'd you stop me for?
License.
Reason for the stop.
You'll find out as soon as I have your information.
Supervisor.
You'll find out as soon as I have your information.
And I'll give you it as soon as I get a supervisor.
So you're failing to identify yourself at a traffic stop.
I'm not failing to identify at a traffic stop.
Okay. Video all you want. You're free. I have the body cam since I stopped you in the first place. It doesn't disappear. It's public record.
I know it's public record.
License, registration, and insurance.
What's the reason for the stop?
You failed to yield to a police barricade. You're screeching your tires as you leave. You're driving fast. You're obviously frustrated.
Yeah.
So I'm asking for your license, your registration, and insurance on a lawful, legal stop.
Mr. Cardew refuses to provide his license, registration, and proof of insurance to Deputy LaPointe and instead requests a supervisor. And Deputy LaPointe argues that Mr. Cardew is required to identify himself because the traffic stop was lawful. Under Section 322.15 of the Florida statutes, drivers must have their license in their immediate possession at all times when operating a motor vehicle and must present it, quote, upon the demand of a law enforcement officer. Nevertheless, officers cannot lawfully stop a vehicle without at least reasonable suspicion of a traffic offense or crime. Here, Deputy LaPointe claims that he stopped Mr. Cardew because he failed to yield to a police barricade, screeched his tires, drove fast, and was, quote, obviously frustrated. According to Section 316.078 of the Florida statutes, quote, it is unlawful to drive around any barricade erected for the purpose of closing any section of a public street or highway to traffic during the construction or repair thereof, or to drive over such section of public street or highway until again thrown open to public traffic. And while it is arguable that Mr. Cardew violated this statute when he drove past Deputy LaPointe's vehicle, Deputy LaPointe had already stopped Mr. Cardew about this issue and informed him he was free to drive home. Nonetheless, it is possible that a court would conclude that Deputy LaPointe had reasonable suspicion to detain Mr. Cardew based on his aggressive driving. Section 316.154 of the Florida statutes, which prohibits improperly starting a vehicle, states that, quote, "No person shall start a vehicle which is stopped, standing, or parked unless and until such movement can be made with reasonable safety." In the 2002 case of Donaldson versus State, the 4th District Court of Appeal of Florida concluded that an officer did not have reasonable suspicion that an individual violated this statute, despite the fact that the officer testified that the vehicle's tires were squealing, because the officer did not see the defendant's vehicle start from a stopped position. However, in reaching this decision, the court did not invalidate the state's argument that starting and driving a vehicle at such a rate of speed so as to cause the tires to squeal violated this statute. And in the 2011 case of State versus Rudder, the Supreme Court of Vermont distinguished this decision from a case where the officer did observe an individual stop and start their vehicle. The court determined that the officer had reasonable suspicion that a driver violated a similar Vermont statute when he quote-unquote peeled out with his tires spinning and his engine revving. If a Florida court applied similar logic to this situation, it is likely it would hold that Deputy LaPointe had reasonable suspicion to stop Mr. Cardew because he observed Mr. Cardew start his vehicle from a stopped position in a manner that caused his tires to squeal.
Okay. And you're failing to provide any identification.
I'm not failing to provide.
Okay, then hand it to me.
All right. Can I request a supervisor before I hand it to you?
You can hand me the information first before you start failing to provide your identification.
Supervisor, please.
You do realize that failing to provide identification is arrestable.
Cops, man. Did you get picked on as a kid? Or were you the guy that picked on people?
Listen, I'm not going to feed into your bullshit.
Oh, I know you're not going to feed into the bullshit.
Talk all you want, it really means nothing to me.
I don't know. I don't know when this is good till, but
okay.
Go have fun.
November 2021. So you don't have an insurance card that's updated.
Yeah, try this one. I'll give you like 6 of them. You want
okay. How about the right one?
How about all the information is the same?
This one's May 2021. That one's November 2021. All right. Is it electronic? I'll give you the opportunity to pull up the digital one.
Yeah, just write me a ticket. You're gonna write a bunch of tickets anyways.
Right. Well, so he failed to yield for the police barricade. He went around me, so I stopped him, and then he decides
he fails to understand and explain to you.
Yeah, something.
When I started to go around, I stopped.
He went around, so I stopped him. I hit the siren to get him to stop. He finally stops after he's beyond the barricade. So then he causes an attitude, and he figures out. We end up figuring out where he's going. So
that illegal?
I say, so then get the hell out of here and just go. He decides he's going to start burning his tires and taking off like crazy, and his tires starts, he starts fishtailing and all that. So that's why I call it.
You got that on camera, right?
We all carry body-worn cameras.
No.
It's been on since I talked to you the first time.
So you got me fishtailing and losing control of the car, right?
I got you peeling out and all that.
I didn't peel.
I don't have to talk.
I left rapidly. Did not break traction. I hope you got that on camera because I'll see you in court.
Okay. All right.
With my lawyer.
Maybe I'll be at McDonald's like you suggested.
Maybe you should be flipping fucking burgers. This guy's got an attitude, man.
Are you from New York?
Yeah. He's got an attitude, and he wants to jump out of the car like he's king.
Well, no, we got this area blocked out for a reason.
I get it. I was up there, and I turned around and drove all the way around to come back here. So I need to go right here.
I hear you.
And I figured, all right, he didn't even try to get out of the car when I went by. I was like, stopped right in front of his car. He didn't open the door, roll the window, nothing. So I started to go.
Yeah, but if we got barricades up, you can't just drive around the barricade.
But people you can't go home? You can't go to the place you're supposed to go?
You have to ask him to make sure that, because we can't verify that until we talk to you.
When he hit the thing, I completed my stop. And he gets out with an attitude. You don't see the patrol car? No, obviously I see it. I didn't crash into it.
Well, the part is that you can't drive around the barricade to begin with.
This is retaliatory because I gave him an attitude. He wouldn't have done this if I didn't give him an attitude.
Oh, but I mean, if anybody that you come across that gives you an attitude, you're not going to like it, right?
Where's the supervisor? You requested a supervisor?
Yeah. What, you didn't hear me?
Do you want him now?
It's on your body cam. I asked you for a supervisor at the beginning of this interview. Oh my God. You didn't request one.
I did not request one, no.
I asked you to request a supervisor. Okay. It's on your body camera at the beginning of this stop.
I will let him know what's going on.
Now you want to do it and detain me longer?
So here's your information. Drive around in a detour barricade. It's $164.
Fantastic.
You
Good.
have
Done
30
cop
days.
explaining? It's fantastic. Am I signing?
You also got.
I signing?
You also got any information.
Am
for
I
improper
signing?
starter. Option 5 is obviously go to court and select the magistrate. You
Do
don't have
they
to pay
need
any
to
of
be
them.
signed?
Nope.
Thank
All set.
you. How hard was that?
All set.
Give me your card, please.
I'm not.
Information.
You don't need a card.
Badge.
My name and badge is LaPointe 6854. I don't have to provide you any actual documentation. There you go, Pasco County Sheriff's Office. So that way you don't
No, I
forget
know
that
where
one.
you're at.
Okay. You still want a supervisor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let them know.
How long to do that?
You're-
I asked you in the beginning of the stop. It's
You're free.
$100.
You want one or not?
Which I'm gonna afford.
Do you want one or not?
I don't want one.
Okay. That's what I figured. That's why we didn't call one. You're all set. Have a good day. You're all set. I don't want you to talk yourself into handcuffs. Have a good day. Take care.
Mr. Cardew continues to voice his displeasure about the stop to Deputy LaPointe, who tells him to move along before he talks himself into handcuffs, apparently threatening to arrest Mr. Cardew for his speech. Section 877.03 of the Florida statute states that, quote, whoever commits such acts as are of a nature to corrupt the public morals, or outrage the sense of public decency, or affect the peace and quiet of persons who may witness them, or engages in brawling or fighting, or engages in such conduct as to constitute a breach of the peace or disorderly conduct, shall be guilty of a misdemeanor of the second degree. But, as the First District Court of Appeal of Florida noted in the 1986 case of Delaney versus State, quote, since this statute could in certain situations infringe upon the right to free speech, the court has limited its application to verbal conduct which falls outside the scope of constitutionally protected speech. In the 1976 case of White versus State, the Supreme Court of Florida explained that, quote, in determining the narrow line between constitutionally protected speech and that which is unprotected, it is imperative to consider the circumstances in which the words were uttered. The statute must not be construed to limit the use of a socially impermissible word merely as a tool of communication. Such expressions are constitutionally protected. The court then clarified that oral, nonverbal acts which infringe upon the rights of others to pursue their normal, lawful activities are not constitutionally protected, even when accompanied by the use of constitutionally protected words, and ultimately concluded that, quote, mere words used as a tool of communication are constitutionally protected. The protection fails only when by the manner of their use, the words invade the right of others to pursue their lawful activities, or, by their very utterance, they inflict injury or tend to incite an immediate breach of the peace. In this situation, Mr. Cardew did not engage in any conduct beyond arguing with Deputy LaPointe. He remained in his vehicle, kept his voice at a reasonable volume, and did not take any actions to prevent Deputy LaPointe from leaving. As we have often discussed here on ATA, the Supreme Court stated in the 1987 case of City of Houston versus Hill that, quote, the First Amendment protects a significant amount of verbal criticism and challenge directed at police officers. And it is clear here that Mr. Cardew was doing nothing more than criticizing and challenging Deputy LaPointe's behavior. Therefore, a court would likely determine that Mr. Cardew did not commit disorderly conduct and could not be lawfully arrested for his speech.
Take care. Nope. I said I don't want you to do that.
Go. Go.
You don't want me to talk myself into handcuffs? You're threatening me?
No, I'm not. That's not a threat.
What are you going to arrest me for?
That's an education of the law.
Good. What are you going to arrest me
You're all set. Have a good day.
for? Educate.
Eventually, both Deputy LaPointe and Mr. Cardew drove away, and Mr. Cardew was able to return home. During the encounter, Deputy LaPointe wrote Mr. Cardew 3 tickets, one for driving around a barricade, one for improperly starting a vehicle, and one for operating a motor vehicle without proof of insurance. Mr. Cardew has since claimed that one of the insurance cards he presented to Deputy LaPointe was unexpired, and has indicated that he intends to fight all 3 of the citations. As of the date of this episode, court records show that all 3 cases are still pending. Overall, Deputy LaPointe gets a C-, because although he likely had reasonable suspicion to stop Mr. Cardew, he maintained a hostile and aggressive demeanor throughout the encounter, failed to call a supervisor when Mr. Cardew requested one, and seemingly threatened to arrest Mr. Cardew for constitutionally protected speech. Additionally, it cannot be ignored that Mr. Cardew originally attempted to communicate with Deputy LaPointe before driving onto the closed street, both by using his turn signal and stopping next to the cruiser, and Deputy LaPointe did not respond to him. It is unclear why Deputy Lapointe failed to either notice or acknowledge Mr. Cardew, but it is evident that if Deputy Lapointe had simply taken the time to roll down his window and talk to Mr. Cardew before he drove onto the street, this entire situation could have been avoided. Many interactions between officers and citizens occur outside the context of a formal traffic stop or detention, and Deputy Lapointe failed to take advantage of this opportunity to communicate with Mr. Cardew before pulling him over. This encounter demonstrates the importance of proactive policing and how officers can prevent unnecessary escalations by simply being aware of the citizens around them. Mr. Cardew gets a B because while his frustrations with Deputy Lapointe in the traffic situation were completely understandable, he demonstrated hostility throughout the interaction, failed to invoke his right to silence, and seemingly attempted to provoke Deputy Lapointe at several points in the encounter. While all of Mr. Cardew's speech was protected by the First Amendment, that does not mean it was productive or advisable. Here, Mr. Cardew's confrontational demeanor and initial refusal to comply with Deputy Lapointe's demand for his license, registration, and proof of insurance extended the length of the traffic stop and prevented him from getting home in a timely manner. Similarly, the aggressive manner in which he chose to drive off from the initial traffic stop gave Deputy Lapointe reasonable suspicion to stop him again. And while I do not necessarily believe that pulling him over was necessary or appropriate, a court would likely side with Deputy Lapointe in any dispute over this issue. Had Mr. Cardew kept his temper under control and calmly explained the situation to Deputy Lapointe, he likely could have immediately gone home without receiving any tickets. Of course, none of this excuses Deputy Lapointe's behavior, who had the professional responsibility to set a respectful tone in the encounter. While I commend Mr. Cardew for protesting the conduct of Deputy Lapointe and for following up this encounter with the proper legal action, I would caution other citizens in a similar situation to remain as calm and silent as possible. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.